Thank you, Kaylee. Very, very interesting weather around the nation right now. I love that rain, heat, or rain, snow, and heat is an interesting thing there. But let's welcome our next guest, Michelle Avery, who's with AUVSI, and I always forget what that acronym stands for. I know autonomous is in there. Inride, Menlo Park, California. Michelle, welcome to the show. How are you? I don't think she's hearing me.
I have no sound. I can't hear you guys at all.
No, she does. She's not hearing me. She just said, "Hey, I don't hear you guys. I see myself staring at you."
You got me something here.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning,
Yes.
Michelle. Hey, that was a good shot, though. You look great. The still is going to be tremendous. Hey, for my own silliness, and I'm not all that bright sometimes, AUVSI is what does that acronym stand for?
This is the Automated Uncrewed Vehicle Systems International.
Okay, so and specifically, we're talking today about the safety and what that means to it, and why that is a core value in autonomous. I think everybody can guess the obvious there, but there's a lot more to it than that, isn't there, Michelle?
There is. Are you familiar with Inride? Would it be worthwhile if I told you a little bit about us real quick?
I think that's a tremendous thing. I think you should, yes.
Sure. So Inride was founded in 2016 with the aim to completely transform the shipping industry through the use of three core technologies: digital, electric, and autonomous technologies. And we're doing this because we have to reduce greenhouse gases in shipping, which contributes about 7% to global emissions. And you can really only do that when you apply efficiencies that come through the digitalization of the shipping platform, through the use of electric powertrains, and through the application of autonomous systems. So we bring all three of those together to reduce the carbon in shipping, reduce the cost, and increase efficiencies throughout the entire supply chain.
And I really like that this kind of is that triple point of the intersection of sustainability, autonomy, and electrification. Because a lot of times when we talk to some of the bigger players in the autonomy space here, especially in the trucking side of things, they're talking about autonomy first and then sustainability later, right? And you guys bring that all as part of the core value and the really kind of forward mission of Inride. So let's talk a little bit about how the product itself does that. What does the product look like? Where is its use case? And development and deployment is something that you guys just recently did. So touch on that a little bit.
Sure. So we have three core products. We have Saga, which is our digitalization platform. So this oversees the operation of all of our trucks and lets you really see where your goods are moving and how much emissions you're reducing. And then we sell capacity as a service through two products: our connected electric truck and our autonomous electric truck. We also supply all of the charging infrastructure and capabilities that go, since those trucks are obviously electric and need to be charged. What we do is we don't sell these vehicles. We operate those as a service for our customers. And our customers include companies such as Bridgestone here in the United States, Oatly, and other larger brands in Europe.
Gotcha. So, Michelle, I think it's interesting, and I think it's a good point for you to dive into, if you would, for just a moment, is the reason why you bring out electrification and sustainability, right? Some put it hand in hand. Others, like myself, who are call BS on everything, go, well, just because it's electric doesn't mean it's necessarily sustainable. Why do you guys delineate between those two, and how does that work?
Well, electric is sustainable when you look at the efficiencies that you can get throughout the entire the use of the vehicle. And also, we work really hard to make sure that we're using renewable energy to power these vehicles. What's happening right now are two critical things. One is utilization. In order to get over the initial cost of the electric tractor, which is more expensive, you need to utilize it more over time. And then the total ownership is considerably less. And those unit economics are very, very favorable. And we're able to offer those cost savings to our customers. Now, when you add autonomy on top of that, it's the same thing. In order to cover the initial cost of the automated driving systems, you need to utilize those at high numbers in order for it to make sense. And that's really important. And we combine both of those technologies to really drive those efficiencies and bring those to our customers for better unit economics.
Excellent explanation.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Whenever I talk to folks in the autonomy space, which is fairly often here at FreightWaves, the one thing that we always talk about is public perception and public acceptance of autonomous systems. And at the end of the day, it all comes back to how safe does General Tom driving down the road feel next to an autonomous vehicle, whether that's a passenger car or whether that's a truck with a full autonomous system on it. Can you talk a little bit about how safety plays into the role and the goals there at Inride, and where that fits into that kind of three-prong approach of sustainability, autonomy, and electrification? Is safety the overarching umbrella on top of it, or is it that core value that's baked into the center of all three of those?
Sure. So for our autonomous electric truck, it was purpose-built to be autonomous. So when you see the vehicle, it doesn't have a cab. There's no place for a person to be in it. There's no windshield. There's no side view mirrors. So it's important to know that from its very inception, it was built to be autonomous. And that means that safety was built from the ground up. That includes all the redundant systems for your braking, for your steering, for your electrical systems, right from the get-go, and from the perception stack as well. The other thing is how we're deploying this technology. So right now, we're focusing on short haul, middle mile, less than 250 miles. Here in the US and also in Sweden, we're operating these vehicles for research and development operational flows in very structured, scheduled environments. They are low speed. So if you think about our current customer in the United States, General Electric Appliances, these are moving from manufactured lines, bringing finished goods across their campus to their finished goods warehouse. And they're doing this constantly, going back and forth. The other thing that we have is human in the loop autonomy. So these vehicles are connected and they're always monitored. We have commercial driver's licensed truck drivers who are overseeing the operation of these fleets of autonomous trucks at the moment. They do a couple of things. One, they're very experienced. And there are certain times where you really want a human to see what is happening. They have full camera visibility around the truck as it's moving. And at very low speeds, when it's backing into a loading dock, which is a complicated thing to do, they're overseeing this. And at any moment, they can communicate with dock workers as well as stop the vehicle if that's ever necessary. So in these early days, as we roll out autonomy, it isn't just can the vehicle see things around it and stop, but it's also how do those dock workers respond to the introduction of autonomy into their systems. That requires a transformation. And that's really what we're doing and what distinguishes us in the marketplace is we dive in to that transformation that's required, not just for the electrification and having to charge these trucks as well, but also on the deployment of the autonomy systems.
Yeah, so we're looking at the video of these vehicles right now. Very, very cool stuff. Will this go, now you mentioned up to 250 miles, but then very, very structured and enclosed environments that are fairly predictable. Will these move outside of those environments eventually?
Absolutely. We've been working very closely with NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, to get a permit to operate on public roads. And we'll be making announcements on that soon, which we've retained that permit, and we'll be discussing that shortly. But it really is focusing on these proof of these operational flows. How do you fold autonomy into the way that you move goods? Now, don't get me wrong, these are very complicated environments, but they are low speed, they're very structured, they're very scheduled, and that's important for the type of where the technology is at this moment.
Yeah.
Awesome,
Excellent.
Michelle. Well, thank you for joining us today. It's great to have you guys and great to see this representation from Inride. We'll be watching for those announcements and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you.